Alright, so here we go again with the second update video to my own beginner account, and as you guys can see, we're 60 days down the road when it comes to this new project, and there have been a lot of changes. Now, as always, this is more of just a summary of what I've been up to. If you want to watch the full videos, I do also have a full playlist in the description and also at the top right hand side of the screen right now if you want to watch. I pretty much try to segment them into different sort of topics. While there is still a lot of rambling in it, it's just stream highlights, it's completely unedited. I did realize that you guys really seem to enjoy these sort of videos. But yeah, anyways, as always, we're gonna have a little bit of a paint presentation first, where I kind of just highlight the whole thought process between day 31 and day 60 and what I've been up to, what was kind of the decision making. And the second half of this video is again gonna be me showcasing my room builds, just kind of taking you by the hand and just telling you guys my entire thought process on why I built certain units. It's gonna be a lot of overlap, but still, let's just fucking get going, am I right? Now let's start off with my classic paint presentation, and I want to just kind of briefly mention what we've done for the first 30 days. We've cleared our first Giants B10 run, and I've never really changed my teams around too much. I've only really gradually improved their rune quality without actually swapping any monsters so far. I've also done a lot of TUA work. We've cleared TUA 100 in the second rotation, and when I say the second rotation, I mean I think when we first started my account we were about 7 days before it reset, so we really couldn't do much then. But we've cleared it pretty much as fast as possible while also getting TUA hard 80 done, which was a lot more tough. It just got us the most amount of crystals and just Devilmon resources that we really need outside of just luck-based scrolls. And one thing that I've tried to really emphasize was just getting more secondary awakenings. So we ended up having 3 at the end of my first month of gameplay on my own beginner account. And of course, while we were building all of these sort of teams, I was kind of already thinking ahead a little bit and just started preparing for things such as R5 and also Karzhan B4. I love the 4-star runes. I'm gonna give that feedback to come to us. I fucking hate the fact that Karzhan B4 is really hard to beat, and you're getting green grinds. You're getting 4-star runes, and it's just not proportional to how much you have to invest. I was rushing this shit really hard because I always wanted to be able to use my dimensional energy, and it just never worked. Yeah, and as you guys can tell from that Twitch clip in the background right now, I was kind of underwhelmed when it comes to Karzhan before. I'm going to show you guys a couple of runes that I've gotten from about 1 month worth of farming the dungeon. I initially wanted to make a video on it, but it just didn't feel right to just basically tell you guys that it's not worth it and then just drag that out for 10 minutes. YouTube life, I know. Yeah, but all of the other things that we've done actually worked out pretty well. So far we've cleared TUA hard 80. I think we're going to try and get to 100 at the last week or so. I mean, for now we still have about 20 days left in that rotation, so we really don't need to rush it unless I need some more clickbait. And especially when it comes to R5, that really helped me out quite a lot. I already built my R5 team in my first free one removal when I wasn't actually able to clear it, since my Darien wasn't 6-starred, I didn't have my Konamiya fully skilled. But now, since I have all of that sort of stuff settled, my R5 team is insanely consistent, and it was by far the most reliable way for me to actually improve the rune quality that I've already had. Yeah, I'm rank 1. This is my fucking 2100 day old account. One thing that I again want to mention a little bit more in detail is going to be my decision to only stick with giants. Now, I've already highlighted that sort of strategy a little bit more in depth in one of my latest videos, but I'm not really discussing the decision to stay in giants right now. I would much rather discuss the decision to not focus very heavily on building speed teams and things of that nature, because honestly, I really feel like that is kind of a waste of resources. Now, when it comes to my team composition, I've stuck with a Giants B10 1-minute 20 team for about 6 or 7 weeks, and just recently started to incorporate my Lucian into it, which put it down to about 1 minute. And I honestly feel like just focusing very heavily on getting your Giants team faster and faster, while it is a strategy that you want to pursue eventually, early on there is just way more other projects that you want to focus on. It's just funny how there's so many people complaining about not having enough crystals, while at the same time not building any dimensional hole teams, not getting into raiding, not really building TUA teams. They don't build stuff for Labyrinth, they don't build stuff for Guild War, things of that nature. So maybe instead of putting all of your eggs into one basket, you want to kind of just diversify. And now moving forward from that, those are all the things that I've done for the last 30 days on my own beginner account. Let's talk about my next couple of goals that I'm really trying to build as soon as possible, with the first one being TOA Hard 100. I'm gonna have to probably end up 6-starring either my Tyrone or my Melia. I need to look into that a little bit more. I might also need to build some counters, which that's going to be pretty expensive. But I mean, long term, it is going to pay off, but it's definitely not the first thing that I'm going to be looking into. What is a lot more important, though, on the other hand, is going to be getting those reappraise stones, which, in my opinion, we pretty much only really need to get S scores for that. What I'm also really looking forward to, like, just building right away, since the rewards really do not seem to pay off, is going to be getting into Karzhan B5 over B4. Now, this is kind of like a question mark thing where I'm not 100% certain if I will be able to pull that off if I do not summon a Kaimon. So just take that with a grain of salt. If I had a Kaimon, I'm pretty confident that we could just clear B5 no problem whatsoever. But if I don't end up being able to do it, I'm just gonna go back to just farming secondary awakenings. We have the Elusia that I want to build. I want to build a Mina. I want to build a Miho if I summon it. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all of the nerd talk that I have for today. Let's get into the actual team building and roam builds that I have on my monsters. Now, it was already pretty complicated giving you guys like an overview of my account in my first review 30 days into gameplay. It has gotten a lot more complicated. Just mind you that my account right now, the way I have it ruined, could be a lot stronger, but since free rune removal is again about 7 or 8 days away from right now, I don't really bother too much. I have everything set up to the point where I can clear most of the PvE things and just kind of like take it for like another week and then just min-max again. But in the process of my last challenge that I've done with you guys on stream, where I tried to climb to Fighter 1 with my 60-day-old account, that's really fucking insane. I'm glad that he... What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? It's done? I did min-max my monster box when it comes to RTA, so as you guys can see right now, after about 5 weeks of farming giants, roughly, my burnout is at plus 173 speed, and like I said, I haven't really gotten too lucky when it comes to my swift rolls. I think I could get him to about 190 if I rolled as well on my swift runes as I did with, let's say, my despair runes, my energy runes. And moving forward from that, of course, again, like I said, the benefit of farming mostly giants is you're going to be able to have a lot of really strong speed boosters. As you guys can see, this time around for the Hall of Heroes, I went for Bearing. It is, in my opinion, a lot stronger than Gemini. For early game players, you're going to be able to use a Bearing a lot easier. And it's the same for my Vigor, which I didn't even rune for like full speed. I can get them insanely fast. Now, moving over from my speed boosters, I think my last video I started off by talking about my Lapis, which used to be the strongest and like most important unit in my monster box. And she definitely did move down that ladder by quite a bit, from that jack of all trades to more of like a niche pick. Now, as you guys can see right now, my Lapis is actually pretty scuffed. The main reason why I have her as tanky as she is with pretty low damage is because I've been using her as a tank while farming for 2A burnout. And yeah, actually during the process of me farming for Karzhan before, I did actually in the middle of it go and build my burn. At the time I had about 40% left when it comes to experience, and I just decided to go for him instead of farming more and more Karzhan, since at the end of the day it's not going to be in a YouTube video anyways. Like, I did get some pretty good dimensional hole ancient runes. As you guys can see, like, this one is pretty good. This one had a lot of potential as well, but overall I kind of really felt like it was a waste of my energy right now. Like, I don't even feel like making a video on this specifically. I'm gonna probably put it in the title, but it's really not worth to farm before, especially once you're like mid game. So pretty much what I would recommend is going for more secondary awakenings, and in that time farm some runes. I'm gonna be proving that you can do B5 in the next 30 days. Definitely just follow me on Twitch. Do never miss that out. We're gonna do it live with you guys. I'm gonna have you guys help me out. We're gonna do a lot of testing. It's gonna be a blast. Now, I think instead of like showing you guys all of my units, I want to showcase where I actually use them instead. And I want to start off with my Giants team, since this is like probably the dungeon where I spent the most amount of time in. And like I said earlier, I did just recently start using my Lucian, which I actually ended up building in the first 30 days already, but it was just way too prematurely. It's really hard to use a Lucian to the point where you can be satisfied with it. Now currently my Lucian sits on a Fatal Broken Rune set, and as you guys can see, I actually do utilize that vamp set by quite a bit. Like I love using that vamp set on broken units pretty much. I did also get a really good Nemesis rune. But yeah, let me just quickly go through his runes. He's on speed slot 2, just to be able to actually have him move as my second unit. So while he doesn't do as much damage as he could be doing, just with that sort of rune build, I do ensure that he has the correct attack order, and it actually does get me to about 50 to 1 minute giant speed 10 runs. Other than that, I didn't really swap around too many runes. As you guys can see, my Lauren currently has most of the runes that I've already showcased earlier that I had on my burnout and stuff like that. And you're definitely going to see a lot of like free rune removal changes over the next couple of days. Like I said, with my Crow, I do like having a little bit more of a tanky Crow with high accuracy that is also fast over like the pure attack version that a lot of free-to-play beginners do run. And it's pretty much the same thing with my Sig, where I decided to go for a Swift Sigmarus, and he's on speed slot 2, crit damage slot 4, and HP slot 6. And like I said in pretty much 15 of my previous videos, the reason why I rune them these sort of ways is because I do also try and utilize them in a lot of different PvE situations, such as TUA hard, TUA normal, where full damage Sigmarus, where full damage Crow just always ends up dying and just not doing much outside of just a little bit of damage in the first couple of floors. I did also pimp out my Jean by quite a bit. Now, eventually I will need to do a little bit more of dragons. I can't just like rely on rune crafting to get me that 1 or 2 violent sets that I really need on my units. And I think Jean is one of those where I do benefit quite a bit from having her on a violent set, even though she does cycle out of her second skill. Just that amount of like cooldown reduction that she gets from it that allows her to keep her provoke up at all times is definitely worth it in my opinion. Like I have units like Marv on violent sets already, which is really easy to rune on violent. Like he really only needs to be somewhat tanky and maybe have a little bit of accuracy. And as you guys can see, I'm trying to make up for his lack of speed on both of my other runes. This one has 16 speed, the other one has 17 speed. So while my violent runes that I have on him are actually pretty shitty, I can still pull off like a somewhat okay-ish Marv. I honestly still love him. Like it's a very, very old unit, but it just gets the job done basically. So when it comes to doing R5, I did decide to go for a triple frontline instead of going for a quad frontline with my Fran as well. She has a lot of stat requirements and it's very hard to rune for everything. So I ended up going for a little bit more attack over defense. And in that case, she's just going to end up dying. Now, Praha really isn't the best net 5, but where she is pretty useful is the fact that compared to other strippers, she is also kind of like a good pick for like beginner R5 teams, which was kind of like the justification that I used for building her this early. Now the last thing that I want to showcase is going to be my Karzhan B4 team, which as you guys can see, it's kind of weird. I'm not really the biggest fan of running a Raok in Karzhan because you do have to run him a lot more tanky than you would. Like as you guys can see, my Raok right now sits at speed, HP and HP, so a double HP build for a heavy damage dealer like a Raok really isn't the most beneficial way of going about things, but since I haven't summoned a Hua, since I haven't summoned a Kaimon, I think this is pretty much the best alternative that I had. Like it's a pretty good unit with those extra stats from Secondary Awakening, so I just kind of decided to go for that. As well as on top of that, he does have the right element. Like you really want to start stacking fire units to deal with the third stage of this boss fight. Now the issue that I'm having with my Darien is that for Karzhan he needs a shit ton of HP, and for R5 you need a lot of defense. But looking at these sort of runes, like I really do not want to upgrade them too much. I'm still having a lot of mana issues, so I want to be pretty conservative. The best thing about Arman is that when I first started building him, there were so many people shit talking me for having him, but now he actually helped us out quite a bit when it comes to TUA hard. He helped us with the Karzhan before. It's a pretty solid unit. It's definitely a downgrade to Kaimon. It's pretty much the same thing as with my Melia that I use in TUA, where at first there was a lot of people making fun of me for building these sort of units, but gradually more and more people just ended up asking me how to build that unit for themselves. And yeah, I think that's pretty much going to be it when it comes to my PvE team comps. Now, I just kind of briefly gave you guys an overview, showcase the Rune builds that I have on my units. But if you actually want to like get to know like the process of me building these sort of combos, I would highly recommend to you guys subscribing to my secondary YouTube channel. It's called Sample Streams. And as you guys can see, we actually ended up having above 1,000 subscribers already, which fucking feels amazing. I started this channel about like 2-3 months ago, and it's finally starting to blow up, which I just fucking love that. Like, these are the channels where all of my free roam removal optimization sessions go into. These are the channels where I normally do monster tests. And yeah, I'm just gonna leave you guys with that. If you guys enjoyed my overview, I hope it was at least somewhat insightful. Like, it's always very hard to summarize what you've been doing for the last 30 days, especially if you're a person like me who doesn't even remember what you ate for breakfast. But yeah, anyways, with all of that said, see you guys in my next video.